It's time for your sports update. The European Championships is now moving to the last 16 phase of the competition. To discuss this, do join me in a bit. I'll be talking to KHULISO Nemarimela. Well, 24 teams have now become 16. Of course, the European Championship now moves into the knockout phases of the competition. And joining me to go ahead and unpack it, I will be having KHULISO Nemarimela just to discuss this with me. Of course, let's look at the fixtures. Wales, of course, will kick off against Denmark at the Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam. Italy will then play Austria at Wembley Stadium. The Netherlands will then play the Czech Republic at the Puskás Arena in Budapest. Belgium then take on Portugal. What a match that's going to be at La Cartuja in Seville. Croatia will then take on Spain at the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen. France then take on Switzerland in the Arena Nationale in Bucharest. And England will be taking on Germany at Wembley Stadium. How about that? This will invoke memories of the 1966 World Cup final that took place. And Sweden will wrap up the last 16 against Ukraine at Hampden Park in Glasgow. Well, I think we do have KHULISO. Yeah, KHULISO, good afternoon and thank you so much for joining us.
Very good afternoon, Faraz, to you and each one of your viewers.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. KHULISO, there's, of course, 8 matches. We don't want to go through all 8. We're going to look at the more, how would I say, appetizing ones. The one that's appetizing, England versus Germany, the two old enemies taking on each other.
Yeah, I think more than maybe in 2010 when they played here in South Africa, where they had, I like to call it an embarrassment of talent, both teams coming to South Africa. But now, at the moment, they still have a lot of talent within their ranks, both these teams. But if you look at the Germans now, they've got about 4 players who were part of the team that came to South Africa in that World Cup, you know, and most of the players that they have in their ranks are the players, obviously, that were in Brazil in 2014 as well. So they've got an oldish squad, which sometimes, depending on who you are, if you are Italy, then that's perfect for you. You can go on with your old dogs and dominate a tournament, or even not even dominate a tournament, but go to a tournament and do what you need to do and come back with the results. But looking at England, still a lot of talent for us, especially going forward. But the problem that I have with them is that they do not look like a team as yet. It looks like Gareth Southgate just selected the best players, the best individuals, but I haven't really seen them play as a team. If anything, the game against Scotland, I think that's the game where they looked more like a team. And I don't know if maybe that had more to do with the emotional attachment that obviously that game between the British derby that has between Scotland and England.
KHULISO, of course, Sunday evening, Belgium versus Portugal, the 2 pretenders for this championship. I mean, this is going to be another huge clash. I mean, you've seen Portugal in the group stages. They just got in, but Belgium have been absolutely flawless and led by 2 men I think we've impressed in this competition, Kevin De Bruyne and Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah, honestly, I think this is the game of the round, to be honest with you, because I think for these 2 teams, the winner of this match potentially has one of the biggest chances to go all the way and win the trophy, because you know that when it comes to big competition, there's nothing you need more than just momentum. And if both teams, I mean, we saw what happened with the Belgian team. You know, obviously they've relied on Lukaku to get them out of a pickle a couple of times. But now, if they gather the team together and they go forward and say this is the game that they want to win, and also my biggest worry with the Belgian team is the fact for us that it looks like they depend a lot on Kevin De Bruyne, and if Portugal by any means find a way to neutralize Kevin De Bruyne, I think they might be in a position where they say, okay, cool, the supply to Lukaku or whoever is playing up front has been cut, because I don't think they can depend a lot on someone like Yuri Tielemans. They can't depend a lot on Nacer Chadli, who, for the love of me, I do not understand why he's still playing for the number one team in the world. And then the two Hazard boys, they haven't been that hazardous since the tournament began. So Belgium, if Kevin De Bruyne is not taken care of by the Portuguese, I think it's going to be a problem. For the Portuguese, they're a proper team. They're a proper team, and everyone in that Portuguese team understand that in this team, we might be good individuals for our clubs, but in this national team, Cristiano Ronaldo is still the main man. I mean, if they can still bench someone like Bruno Fernandes, who's pretty much held Manchester United for the past season and a half, if they can bench him, then it tells you everything that you need to know about that team. I'm just waiting for them to come through, for the likes of Bernardo Silva and Diogo Jota to come through and help up Cristiano Ronaldo when it comes to creating the chances and obviously converting them.
Okay, KHULISO, I'm going to ask you a prediction for the 8 games. Wales versus Denmark, who goes through?
I'm going with Denmark because of emotions there. I think Denmark will have enough emotion push.
Italy, Austria?
I'm picking Italy actually as the team that's going to the final to face the Netherlands.
Oh, lovely. That's what I want to hear. And of course, the Netherlands, they should beat Czech Republic. I'm sure. Yeah.
The Netherlands, well, they might get through a shock, but I think they'll have enough to go through the Czech Republic.
Okay, we know we previewed Belgium and Portugal. You never gave me a winner. Who makes it through?
I'm going to go with Belgium.
Okay. Croatia, Spain, another big one in Copenhagen.
I think Spain are starting to pick up momentum, but Croatia, in terms of quality, will have more.
Yeah, and
I'm going with Croatia on this.
Led by the ageless Luka Modric. France with Switzerland. I know this is a game close to your heart.
Yeah, I'm supporting France, but I think they're just going to stumble somewhere. I don't think this is the game where they'll stumble, but they will stumble between the quarterfinals and the semifinals. So it's easy. It's an easy one for me, this one, unless Shaqiri does something. But I'm seeing France going through here.
Okay, England and Germany. What happens?
I'm going with the Germans. Germans.
Well, there we go. Some sad Englishmen that are going to be there. And KHULISO, finally, Sweden versus Ukraine. I know it's not the most appetizing match, but who goes through there?
But for me, Faraz, is the number 2 game of the round for me, this one, because these are two teams that are pretty much at the same level. And I love what Andriy Shevchenko is doing with that Ukrainian team. So I'm going to go with Ukraine for this one. I don't think Sweden have enough to go through this one.
Yeah, and of course, Sweden with Alexander Isaac, Emil Forsberg, and Kulusevski. We'll remain to see what happens there. KHULISO Nemarimela, we say thank you again. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the round of 16 action that's going to be coming to us.
Many thanks, Faraz. Thank you.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, there we go. The Euro Championships, the round of 16. This is going to be incredible. Who's going to go ahead and make it through to the quarterfinals of the competition?